Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of June 17th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted by a local access programmer with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone here recording tonight? None being said, I hereby call the meeting to order at 6:30. Members in attendance are, roll call, please.
Mark Munjum's here.
Jim Foran.
Mike Greco here.
Joe Fitzpatrick here. First on our agenda is reorg.
Currently accept nominations for chairperson. Nominations.
I nominate Mark.
Any other nominations?
Pardon?
Would you like to nominate Jim?
No, I'll do it.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Well, I mean, Joe, are you leading?
This is my last night.
It is.
Okay. So nomination has been made for Mr. Munjum as chair.
Second.
Second by Mr. Greco. Any other discussion? All those in favor, roll call.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Munjum, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
I'm going to call for nomination for vice chair. Chair is yours, sir.
Oh, just like that?
That's it.
Can't you do it tonight?
No, you're in.
Joe?
You're in.
You can make it
Jeez, oh.
effective July if you'd like.
Yeah, let's make it July. Any nominations for vice chair?
Nominate Jim.
I second that.
Any other nominations?
Any other nominations for vice chair?
I thought you just did it.
Vice chair.
Vice chair.
Seconded?
I seconded it. Yeah, but is there anybody else that,
Oh, I'm sorry.
do you want to be nominated, Mike? You can nominate Josiah Birch in his absence if you want.
You'd be surprised.
You know, he'd be surprised, all right. All right, no other nominations. All those in favor of Jim Foran as vice chair? Mark Munjum, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
You're going to step out for, I'm going to step out for this one.
Yes, sir.
All right, next on the agenda, we have RFP for our conservation agent. So we have received one bid for that work. The bid was from Environmental Science and Brandon Faniff as conservation agent. I don't know, has everybody had a chance to review the information that we received?
I just seen it. Just got it tonight.
Okay. Matt, do you have any comment on it?
Sure. If you'd like, we can go through the scoring system one at a time. We do have to make a motion this evening on this, so this has to be done today.
Okay.
For the first item, for pricing services to be paid from general fund, I noticed in Mr. Munjum's remarks, he wrote unable to determine because there was no pricing provided in the RFP. So I think we have to leave that one as unable to determine on that.
What?
The pricing was absent from the letter. For work that may not be covered under 53G, we propose the town's pay expenses incurred by ESI be paid from the, and it's left blank. So that part is empty. So we cannot weigh in on that one. So sample work products provided in the RFP. We're looking for a score, 0, 1, 2, or 3 on the scoring sheet. Kind of go around and see what folks want to give for a score. Start with Mr. Munjum. Gave a score of a 2.
Yes, I I scored 2 on this, which is advantageous.
Any other members want to provide scoring on this one? Thought the work products provided were pretty good. I'd give it the same score. That's my opinion.
Okay. I'll do the same, score 2.
Same thing.
Yep.
2 goes around. Next item is approach to scope of work. Same scoring system here. Mr. Mungem, you want to talk about your score?
Yeah, this item is for the approach to scope of work, and it was based on the information that Brandon provided, and also the work that's been done over the past few months here on projects, and I felt that this score here should also be a 2 and as advantageous.
So any other commissioners want to give it a score?
Same thing, too.
2.
Agree.
Okay, so we got 2 across the board there. Next item is education and experience. Mr. Mungem?
A review of his resume notes that he has a BS and an MS from UMass Amherst, and has over 10 years of experience, so I scored this one as a 3, or most advantageous, with that experience.
Agree.
Agree.
Okay. Next item was quality of preferences provided. Mr. Mungem? What yours?
This is just my judgment, but I felt that the references were all advantageous to utilizing his services.
I agree.
I agree.
Agree.
Okay, so we're looking for, since we don't have any other RFPs to review, we're looking for the board wants to make a recommendation to the town administrator for the hiring of Ecosystem Solutions, the on-call conservation consulting services, the RFP.
I'm happy to make that recommendation.
I'll second.
So it's been, motion's been made and seconded to accept the proposal of Brandon Phaneuf and
Make a recommendation,
Ecosystem Solutions.
to make a recommendation to the town administrator to hire Brandon for the on-call conservation consulting services.
Correct.
Motion's made and seconded. Good.
So all those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
And I need just a brief reason as to why we would like to hire him, if you don't mind.
A brief reason why we would like to hire him?
Yes, I just need that for the record.
Now you see why I
Well-
didn't want to wait until July, huh?
Well, the work of the Conservation Commission is pretty broad and requires some significant expertise that as volunteers, we may not have. So we've always had a conservation agent assist in the past. I'd say most every town in the Commonwealth utilizes conservation agent for help with reviewing of their wetlands projects. So I feel like it's necessary that we have a conservation agent that we can work with to review our wetlands bylaws and projects.
So, some of the things that I wanted to bring up. Now, I think there's still some need in our department to hire on-site staff for a conservation agent full-time. I think there's still a need here for us. I mean, we need someone in the building for admin purposes that can right decisions, engage in enforcement orders that don't cost the town money. There's a lot of things out there that aren't in the RFP that aren't covered under the agent. The agent would cover notice of intents, RDAs, and ANRADs, but everything else is on our dime. And they didn't set a budget in the RFP. So I think, even though we're still bringing them on here, I think that'd still be a wise move to ask the administrator to put out a request to hire a full-time conservation agent, Brandon, to oversee that role. I think that'd be pretty important. How does the commission feel about that?
I think that you need a full-time guy.
I'd be okay with that.
I think we need someone. I'm not, if we have Brandon and Ecosystem Solutions to do what they're doing, it may not be a full-time position, but I definitely think we need a conservation agent.
Yeah. Agreed. I think our full-time agent, given the scope of work that Jen's been bogged down with, she's doing Concom stuff nonstop at this point. She needs to lighten that workload off her end. So, I mean, all the stuff that's coming in, you see our agendas, they're running late, There's plenty to warrant the hiring. I mean, it would come as a town meeting article, the salary request. The salary for conservation agent in the town of Douglas, probably somewhere 70, 75K. We're paying Brandon way more than that in the period of 4 months for some of the admin stuff that he's doing. So the cost would offset. I mean, we definitely need an agent who would be less with more time in the admin office. Still bring Brandon on for all our 53G stuff.
Okay?
Is there a motion to that effect, to
I'll
recommend?
make a motion that we look for a full-time guy also.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to recommend to the town administrator that we hire a full-time conservation agent to serve the Conservation Commission. All those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Great. We'll get Brandon back in the room. Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you. I get to stay?
You get to stay.
Do I want to?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll work out the details later. Okay. What are we on to now?
Next on the agenda is nomination for Master Plan Committee. It was asked at the last meeting if anybody from the commission would like to serve on the Master Plan Committee, and everyone said no, right? Joe, you weren't here. Did you want to serve on the
No, I'm
Master
good.
Plan Committee?
I'm good.
We don't have any takers.
Okay. We'll carry it on to the next agenda. Maybe a new member would like to join.
Okay, thank you. Mail orders?
So you got.
Oh. All right, I'll sign these as we go and start passing them around. I'd like to move the meeting minutes to the end of the meeting, if that's okay.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to move the meeting minutes till the end of the meeting. All those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Wallem Lake Terrace Beach, Shore Road, possible violation. Do you know anything about that, Brandon?
I know Mr. Benoit.
Mr. Benoit, do you know anything about that?
one.
Yep. So I received a call from Joe Taylor at DCR explaining that there was some work being done on the beach, and he asked us to issue a cease and desist and levy fines immediately. So I went out and I met with one of the Beach Terrace Associates, the president, Mr. Dave Bergeron, I think he's here this evening. So I think he can kind of discuss what they were doing over there, and in the meantime, I'll pull up some photos for us to look at.
Sarah, can you make me co-host, please?
I think you already are.
Thank you. So what's on the screen is an area, there used to be an old, I guess, wooden fence that was kind of fallen down. So what they did is they took the fence down, but they also put a whole bunch of this, I guess, pea stone in the area. And this is, you look down towards the beach a little bit. Should have another photo that gives us that. Look down towards the beach. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 80 feet to the water's edge, but the wetland line kind of includes the beach when you look at it from aerial. So I'd consider this, something that we should issue an EO so they don't start building a fence, and recommend they file an RDA for the commission to review kind of the project and determine if this work can be authorized by the commission. I mean, the stone, they removed a bunch of shrubs and bramble and poison ivy and a ton of bad stuff that was over there. And this is a net improvement, but it's been done, kind of after the filing. So my recommendation is to issue an enforcement order and request a request for determination. The enforcement order goes to DCR, and Mr. Taylor knows that, because they're the landowners. This is their property. So they would then go for the Wallam Terrace Association to complete the RDA and file for the work that's to be done. If you have any questions for Mr. Bergeron, he's here.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there's someone here that involved with the project that could speak to it, please.
Sure, so...
Can you come up to the desk?
Yep.
Thanks.
It's good.
Yeah, you can sit there.
I'll stand.
You can stay there all night if you want. We need help.
So my name's Dave Bergeron. I'm president of the association currently. I have been for the last, I'm going to my third year. So approximately about 5 years back, the fence started to fail. It was rotted. It was falling into the roadway. It was loaded with poison ivy, briars, and whatnot. So in 2022, we discussed fixing the area. So the association took a vote to replace the old fence, to clean up the briars and poison ivy, and then contract a commercial fence company to replace the existing fence that was there. So unfortunately, we did not know that, well, myself included, that we should have come to you folks first, or the state. I did speak with Joe Taylor, but so you understand, this beach has been maintained by us as far back as 1959. So as the years passed, we just fixed what needed to be fixed at our own expense to make it better, for the members that went there. So unfortunately, we didn't follow the proper procedure. We apologize for that. I met with Matt. I did show him what we had done. We did bring in 3/4 stone. It did take us, so that fence was taken down over a year ago. But dealing with poison ivy, no one really wanted to get involved with it, so it was little by little that we went in and cut it. When it died, we removed it. And I did show Matt exactly where we cut the stuff. But that's what we're doing. I did speak with Joe. He told us that we'd have to wait, fill out the forms through the state for authorization to actually put the chain link fence in. So that's where we've done absolutely nothing since I met with Matt, nor will we until we do whatever we have to do to get authorization. That's pretty much it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Where will the fence be located in relation to what I'm looking at?
So
Where was it and where will it go?
I don't know if you have a picture. So where you're looking at the 3/4 stone, just behind that, there's a boat ramp gate. Okay, it's, I believe, like 10 feet across. I don't know if you have a picture of that. Okay, so right where the pointer is, the chain link would go 12 feet to the left where we're looking, and then come straight down about 75 feet. Right.
Is that where the old fence was, too?
Yeah.
And do we know if there's wetland to the left of the gravel?
It doesn't appear that way. There's nothing shows up on our GIS maps.
So the only wetland is the pond bank and the pond, area of the pond.
And so not to interrupt, but after Matt and I had left, I went home, I grabbed the 300-foot tape measure. I measured a foot from the water line up to the, there's a tree just to the left of this picture beyond the three-quarter stone. You're right there. So from the water, a foot from the water line to that tree was 109 feet. I'm not an expert, but it's a straight tape measure. I stuck it in the ground with a screwdriver, measured to the water, it was 109 feet. So just for a point of reference, that's all.
All right,
Okay?
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The water's edge for delineation is a moving target with the beach, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the beach,
Yep.
so includes like midway out, anyway.
Do we have a known mean high water elevation?
No.
That would be very helpful. If you really need, if you need to be that precise, that would be very helpful. But you probably don't.
Just figured a enforcement order for cease and desist without fines, because Mr. Bergeron's been so cooperative, and asked them to issue an RDA or submit an RDA in time for our next meeting. I think that'd be suitable.
Okay. Does anyone have any opinions on it? Any thoughts? Any comments from the public? Anybody on Zoom? All right. Anyone want to make a motion in that regard?
I'll make a motion.
Per what Matt said?
Per Matt, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. So Joe's made the motion, and Jim has seconded the motion to, can you repeat what you said, Matt?
Issue an enforcement order for cease and desist without fines, and request for them to file a request for determination of applicability on or before the next meeting.
All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
The form I pick up through your office? Is
Yes.
that- Okay.
Yep.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Maybe a signature for that.
You got any signature pages?
You want to give him this RDA form?
Yeah, sure. That's what it's there for.
Matt, am I going to need to sign this enforcement order? Well, they're going to sign it.
I'm going to sign it right now.
All right.
No.
Both these?
Go. Thanks.
Okay, next up on the agenda, item number 4. 4, a request for certificate of compliance, DEP number 1430924, Carol Gogolinski, Gilboa Court Extension, map 267, lot 24. Is there somebody here to fill us in on this? Yeah, please come forward, state your name and address.
William Cogley, Whitensville, Mass. Carol and I are partners on the project. My engineer is actually on Zoom also to answer what questions you have, but. So we've completed the portion of conservation. Matt was out, took some pictures. We went over the grades, site conditions, everything like that. So I believe all the forms have been filled out, submitted for approval.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure, go ahead, Matt.
So I visited the property, met with Mr. Kogley and Ms. Gogolinski out there, and I've identified that the basins and all the stormwater infrastructure is built in accordance with the approved plan. The as-built accurately reflects the approved plan, which is on file in our office. The grades, berms, everything seems to line up, and I didn't have any issues with the way that they presented this. I think what they're doing next is they're moving on to constructing the houses once the certificate of compliance is issued, so they can move forward with their subdivision.
Okay, I have a copy of a plan here. It has a black line and a blue line. Looking at this, I can't tell what the proposed and what the finished is.
The as-built
How do you
plan,
distinguish?
it doesn't show the original plan on it. I had to look at the original plan and kind of look at that over it, but it seems to line up. I mean, everything is out in the field is as built according to that plan and the original plan, which is in the office.
Okay. So we're relying on you, Matt.
Yes.
Any concerns or questions from the board?
No.
There wasn't any replication area. This is all buffer zone work.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the request for certificate of compliance?
I'll make a motion that we approve the certificate of compliance
Thanks, Joe.
request.
Second.
All right, motion has been made to approve the certificate of compliance. All those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Right. You guys are all set. We'll get that to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Sure thing.
Do you have that one for us to sign?
Already being signed.
Ah, look at that, you guys are fast.
Good. Samantha's fast.
That's why she's here tonight, right?
Yes. That's why she's here every night.
Moving on, we have number 5. It's another request for certificate of compliance. This one's DEP number 1431055, Pilch Realty, Walnut Street, Lot 2, map 262, Lot 5 and 6. Is there someone here representing this project? Anyone on Zoom? No?
So I did a review of this, Mr. Chairman, and it seems the septic design is installed in accordance with the approved plan. There's a couple of grading things, but no major issues here. The only issue that we have is that the grass is not yet growing on this. And I know in the past, in order to allow closings to happen so they can sell their homes, the commission will issue a partial release of the certificate and have the applicant ensure that, or the new owner ensure that grass grows before they issue the full certificate. Otherwise-
Is it all hydroseeded and everything?
It appeared to be, yeah, this picture kind of shows it, but it's real patchy. It's going to be real dry the next several days. They might have to seed it up again. But, if we're just waiting for seeding, there's no, meeting's not for another month, delay closing. So I think they're looking to close on this Friday. And everything's built in the accordance with plan, you just need the grass. That's really it.
Yeah, I think it's been our procedure in the past to try to wait until the grass is established to accept and provide a certificate of compliance.
Right.
A complete certificate of compliance,
Yeah,
right?
we've issued a partial in the past.
Yeah, and it's not just Douglas, this is the way other towns do it too, is very often the grass is the last thing to get established, right? But should it hold up the sale? So partial certificate is very common, and then they just have to come back in later on. They can get their complete as soon as the grass is established enough, so.
With
that
the
would-
partial, they can still close, though?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you think they remember to come back?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but that's your call.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. Are you, Joe, Mike, Jim?
I'm good with the partial, that's fine.
It's a tough time of the year to try to get grass to grow, so.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It comes up really fast right now. At least weeds do.
Dump enough water on it. you're good.
So make a motion to do a partial for DEP 143-1055, Pilch Realty, Walnut Lot 2, map 262, Lot 5 and 6.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion by Jim and a second from Joe to issue a partial certificate of compliance with the requirement that the final certificate of compliance be applied for once the grass is established. All those in favor?
Jim Farr, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Times. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6 on our agenda, another request for certificate of compliance. This is DEP number 1430796, Joel Considine, 20 Northwest Main Street, map 198, lot 71.
Good evening, I'm Makarios with Alpha Omega Engineering. I have the owner of the property. This project was approved back in 2009, about 15 years ago. It was approved with a well in the back, the house, the septic, and a grading around the whole property. That was the old tree line around the whole property. However, my client in the as-built, he limited the tree line to this area here. So he let this area grow back, this whole area. That was the old tree line right here. So he let this whole area grow back, so the tree line became much less. And also the proposed well location was abandoned because he connected to town water. There are a couple things, changes on the property, which are in the letter right here, which are basically adding a patio on the side of the house. Also, the driveway was supposed to go in the front in the buffer zone, but he was able to get the driveway on the right side outside the 100-foot buffer. Other than that, and actually a walkway also, other than that, everything is similar to the approved plan.
So you said the patio was added on the side of the house?
Yes, that was not on the approved plan.
And so the approved plan was the structure
Right here.
further away from the wetland than what was built?
It was the main house is the same. Actually, the main house became less. Instead of 72, became 70 feet. And it didn't show any patios on the approved plan
Right.
here. So they added a patio in this area, and they were able to shrink the house and get the driveway. Instead of having the driveway here in the 100-foot buffer, it came outside the 100-foot buffer.
Right, but I'm asking about that side.
Yeah.
If it's the work, if the structure is closer than what was,
The house, no, but the patio is.
that patio is. So the house goes to the same
Same.
location,
Yeah.
and the patio was added on?
Yes.
So what, did the area of work expand on that side?
No, everything was.
So that line still remains exactly the
remained
same,
yes.
other than at the back where you
The
didn't
back.
have to continue
He
to the
didn't
well?
do it, but actually he would like to come back for adding a pool in the back in this area, outside the 50-foot buffer. This is the as-built. This is mostly like shrubs and very small trees. It's only like about 10 years old. Right? But all the proposed work will be in this area here outside the 50-foot buffer.
That's not before us right now, so we don't want to talk about it, I don't think. Okay. So this as-built plan shows that the edge of the patio is 47.7 feet from the edge of the wetland?
That's correct, yes.
And what was the house from the edge of the wetland on the approved plan?
I had 59 feet for the closest point here.
Okay, what is the patio? What's it constructed of?
Pavers.
It's up on the screen right now.
Right there.
Very nice. So, Matt, I guess you've gone to see it, or Brandon?
Yep, these are my photos.
Okay.
To the site. I mean, apart from the patio that you pointed out, Mr. Mudgem, everything else, and the driveway was moved away from the buffer zone, which I certainly appreciate. The tree line was moved in the original scope of work, so there's more vegetation here. I think that given those changes, I think it's less of an impact to the patio, I guess, given the driveway was moved out and the tree line was moved out.
Were there any requirements in the original order of conditions to do anything along the tree line, like a split rail fence or any kind of planting or anything to designate that as a limit of work?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Any comments from, or thoughts?
I mean, the impact, the patio, little impact considering that they moved the wood line, the tree line up.
Well, they made it big, yeah, so
I think that
I
the
think,
trade-off is
And the driveway was moved.
Right.
So I'd be okay with it.
Okay. Brandon, you have any?
I was not asked to review this one. I know
Okay.
very little about it, unfortunately, so I can't.
Okay.
I don't think it's really best for me to chime in.
All right. All right, anyone make a motion on it then?
I'll make a motion that we give a certificate of compliance to Joe Constantine, 20 Northwest Main Street, map 198, lot 71.
Second?
All right, motion's been made and second to issue the certificate of compliance. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Considine. Milford. And Bell.
It was
Sam
some
Nichols.
consonants for Elm Street.
Oh, okay. I don't know if they're related, but,
Probably.
thanks, guys.
New business. Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business. I would like to open the public meeting, 7 o'clock public meeting. Is it 7 o'clock? It's after 7. We're good. Request for determination of applicability, 94 Island Road, an existing garage extension, Dan and Judy Russell. Someone here representing the project, please.
Yeah, I'm Dan Russell, 94 Island Road. I'm the owner, with my wife Judy. We should also have,
And Jack Kemper, the architect, via Zoom. From
Thank you.
Farmington. And Matthew, do you have the plan you can put up or give to the people the new plan?
We have the new plan.
Yeah. So what we've done is, since we first submitted it, Matthew went out to look at the site, and it was determined that we're a little too close to the little over the buffer. So what we've done is redesigned the garage extension. Well, but the big picture, we're looking to do a 7-foot 6-inch extension of a basement garage at 94 Island Road to make it actually work as a garage. We're looking to bump out 7 foot 6 inches, 13 feet wide. We've switched the way it's working. So we flipped the entry and the garage side to get farther away from the wetland, or the water, I should say. It is what we're looking to do is to go no further than the existing house is. So we did a series of dimensions from the house, the corners, and we are looking to be 44 feet instead of 50 feet. At that point, it's all gravel right now. The space is all gravel. We're not making the gravel any larger. There's plenty of room to turn around. So that's what we're looking to do, and we'll see, look for your guidance on, how we can best do this and what we need to do.
Okay, thank you. So I'm looking at this plan. I can't find a wetland line or a buffer line on it. Is there,
It's the red dashed line. That's kind of.
that's
Cuts right through.
a 100-foot buffer?
It's 50 feet.
That's a 50-foot buffer zone.
So the red line's the 50,
Yep.
and then the red dash? Is
Yep,
it,
the red dashed line is,
The extension.
yep.
okay.
So as I understand it, the extension, the new structure, is on top of an existing gravel driveway?
Correct.
And there's existing stone walls there that are not going to be altered?
Correct. And we're looking to replace those double doors with a garage door. So the extension will be slid up in line with the front of the garage about where the car bumper is.
Being that the extension is on previously disturbed area, driveway, I'm
Okay, well,
not too concerned about it, quite honestly.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yes,
So
Matt?
That was my first assumption was we're within the 50-foot, probably looking at a positive determination. However, more I thought about it, I'm thinking the same thing that you just mentioned. This is on an existing driveway of previously disturbed area. I think our 50-foot no-build is for disturbing fresh earth, and this is already a disturbed area. It's a driveway. It's not impervious, but it is already a disturbed area, so we're talking about the disturbance of a wetland area or a buffer zone area that we're weighing in on, and I don't think this has that. So I'd be okay if the commission wanted to issue a negative determination on this. Just because there's already a driveway there, that's really it.
Joe, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a problem. I have no qualms going forward.
Okay. Any comments from the general public regarding the plan? All right.
Zoom?
I'm looking up there, but I'm not saying anything, am I? Anybody on Zoom that want to make any comments? I wouldn't know if they did. Okay, thank you.
so you want me to make a motion for a negative determination for 27 Walnut Street, detached garage for Justin Aruda?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded, made by Jim Foran, seconded by Joe Fitzpatrick, to issue a negative determination of applicability for,
Sorry to interrupt. You called
address.
Oh, your address, I'm sorry about that.
no worries.
So negative determination for 94 Island Road, existing garage extension, Dan and Judy Russell, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Second.
I thought that, like, wow, you stepped out for a minute. You guys already moved on to the next one.
All right. All those in favor?
Well, I have one item. I just want to add the request for conditions to add erosion control measures at the edge of the driveway, just to prevent any runoff from entering the wetland.
Yes,
If that's amenable to the applicant.
good point.
So hay bales, silt fence, straw wattles and silt fence would be helpful.
So moved with that.
All right, so to revise the motion is to reissue a
negative.
a negative determination with the condition that erosion control be located or placed or installed at the edge of the driveway at the edge of the driveway. So all those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Rick Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Great.
Thank you.
All set, Jack.
Negative determination always gets me.
Thank you all.
Sure thing.
Yep, thank you.
We'll add the erosion control to the plan for the building permit. Appreciate your time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
They got us that revised plan at the end of the day today. It was real helpful to help understand that.
Item number 8 on the agenda, also new business. I'd like to open the public meeting of a request for determination of applicability for 27 Walnut Street, a detached garage for Justin Aruda.
I'm Justin Aruda, 27 Walnut. I'm the owner. With my contractors on Slack or Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Can you explain what you want to do, Justin?
Yeah, building a detached garage in front of my house, next to my driveway between the house and the street. I believe it's located, it seems like it's maybe somewhere just outside of 80 feet from wetlands on my neighbor's property.
Architectural.
So do you have a plan that shows where the wetland is? Oh, I see you have a mass mapper. Is that what you
Yeah,
use to
mass-
determine where the wetlands are?
Yeah, I wasn't actually even aware of them until we started filing the building permit. So yeah, very non-scientific, 80 feet ballpark with the scale of the map.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes,
So I visited the property, Mr. Ruda was there when I saw it, and on his side of the property, the driveway is crowned, so anything that's coming off the driveway goes towards the road and away from this wetland area. And I kind of walked into the area where you see like a wetland kind of close to the front of this house. There's some high terrain there, and it doesn't drop off till we get a little closer to the back. And I'll kind of pull this up, share screen here. But it's kind of going in where this camper is. This is kind of the area where the garage would go, I guess, kind of right here. And I'll-
so is that looking towards the street?
Yes, it's looking towards the street, and I'm up gradient. So anything coming from here is going to hit the driveway, go down the driveway, and end up in the roadway. So if there's any sort of runoff or anything there, it's not going to impact the wetland at all because the driveway's crowned. As long as they maintain that crown of the driveway, then it shouldn't have any impact to the wetlands at all.
So what is it you're building, Mr. Aruda?
It's a four-car garage.
Okay. So I'm looking at a plan that shows a 63 by 40.
Yeah.
Garage.
Yeah, so it's a four-car with a loft above it.
Okay, it doesn't show any work adjacent to it. How are you going to get cars into the garage?
It'll either be gravel or probably eventually paved. The garage is facing the driveway, so the cars will enter and exit towards the street.
So you'll be doing work between the building and the driveway?
Yes, well, it'll be graded and probably gravel when we do this building.
Okay. Your existing driveway is paved?
Yes.
So do we know how, we really don't know how far away the driveway is and the work area is from the wetland edge, correct?
It's at least, I mean, the wetlands are, I think they're up in the back of the house that's a neighboring property.
That's right.
And it really drops off pretty substantial over there. I'd say it's 70 to 80 feet anyway. I just kind of measured it out, paces, but. I don't know how water would go that direction. It would have to go uphill to get there. So if anything, this would go out into the street, so if we're going to condition it, we obviously, the condition of the stormwater is not to enter the roadway.
Yeah, I would like the plan to be complete, or whatever, to know what, not just where the building is or what the building is, but what the work is going to entail around the building, because that may impact. I know you're saying the driveway is kind of like a cutoff.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, I don't know how many feet it is.
You have the plans that show the dimensions with the building footprint to the property line?
Yes, it shows, I think it says 52 feet to the front and 50 feet to the side. Is that correct?
That sounds about right, yeah. My well is located between where the building footprint will be and my neighbor's property line.
And does this area have to be cleared to be able to build this garage?
No, that area's already been cleared. That's all just ferns from just the growth from the beginning of the year.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
What's that little structure that's shown there?
The travel trailer?
No, it says the house, right next to the house, you got the arrow kind of points toward 27 Walnut Street.
A shed or something.
Oh, yeah, it's a small woodshed, like a 4 by 3.
Oh, there it is. Kind of see.
That's to the top right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an open structure. It's not anything with a door or anything.
The setbacks, good with zoning?
Setback's 50 feet from the road. I don't know. We haven't gotten any other approval yet. This is our first.
Okay.
Yeah, they were required to come to conservation for building what you mentioned about writing off.
Right.
So, any thoughts? Do you think it's a negative determination, or do you think we should require a notice of intent be filed for this?
If it would have been raised on that with zoning, it'd be nice to know if there could be more possibility of moving this garage at all. It'd be nice to know what the zoning was in that area. So,
Yeah, I mean, I just assumed it was a 50-foot front yard setback.
It is. I did
what it
confirm
is
that
now,
with
right?
the...
that's what the zoning is, 50 feet?
That's right.
How about the side yard setback?
Side,
I believe there's only frontage.
You get the garage 50 feet away from the
Property lines?
property lines, yeah?
Yes.
Well, 52 feet and 50, so is it 50 feet from the side?
usually your sides are less.
I think it's
20,
25.
20 or 25, yep.
He's got a 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I see it, Mr. Chairman, is that there's already a driveway that's even closer to the wetland than where the building's proposed. It's in an area that's already cleared. He's plus or minus, according to Matt, at least 80 feet away. So I think that if he is able to somehow infiltrate stormwater, then you've got yourself a negative determination.
Okay.
So you could make it a -3 determination with a condition that roof leaders are infiltrated into ground and not directed towards the wetland or somehow directed away from the wetland. Your call.
Okay, I would also want to request that that erosion control barriers be placed along the edge of the driveway and also along the front of the building. And they should extend back, you know, probably to halfway between the building and the house on the outside of the driveway.
Just so I can get an idea what you mean.
So is anyone willing to make make a motion for a negative determination with conditions that, that the roof drains be infiltrated and that erosion control barrier be placed along the edge of the driveway and along the front of the building?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Do I have to close the public hearing? Should have done that, right? Should have already done that.
That's okay. You can make a declaration as chair that the hearing's now closed.
All right, I'm going to make a declaration that the hearing is now closed. And all those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay. So I'll have that ready for you at some point tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving on to old business. Item number 9, 6:30 PM, NOI DEP number 143-1100, public hearing continued. A notice of intent for John Mashushian, 45 Martin Road, Lot 3.
We have a request to continue for this one.
All right, we have a request for a continuance. All those,
Request from Nicole Hayes to continue the public hearing to July 15th at 6:30 PM.
July what?
July 15th.
So moved.
Second.
motion has been made and seconded to continue this public hearing to July 15th at 6:30 PM. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Okay, old business number 10, 6:30 PM, NOI DEP number 143-1101, public hearing continued for the notice of intent for John Mashushian, 45 Martin Road, lot number 4, a single-family home, map 169, lot 23.
Same request, Mr. Chairman, to continue the meeting till July 15th at 6:30 PM.
All right, it's been requested to continue this hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Been made by Jim Foran, seconded by Michael Greco. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. All right, item number 11, 6:30 PM, NOI, DEP number 143-10XX. Do we have a DEP number for this project now?
We do not.
Okay.
The applicant engineer is on Zoom.
Public hearing is continued for notice of intent for Christopher Betancourt, Orange Street, lot number 10, single-family home, map 266, lot 13-10. Someone here for that meeting?
Yes, Tom Schutz on Zoom from Goddard Consulting is here for that.
Thank you, Tom. Do you have anything new for us?
Yes, we submitted some plan changes after the comments from the Conservation Commission 2 hearings ago. Those were submitted to the Conservation Commission for review. The only change to the inside of the buffer zone was the addition of a line of trees, that being red oaks within the 50-foot buffer zone that was disturbed on site. We also have some outside of buffer zone changes. That is, the house size increased, the driveway shape changed. We also have a stockpile shift. The proposed drive well has increased in size to accommodate the new impervious surfaces from the house itself, because that was being increased in size. And then additionally, the dry well was moved. I can also share my screen to discuss all of that information.
That'd be great, thank you.
It looks like I need to be host.
Okay, you're all set.
Perfect. So again, we revised the site plan and resubmitted it to the Conservation Commission last week before the filing deadline. The only change to our site plan within buffer zone is we added this line of red oaks within the disturbed 50-foot buffer zone here. Those are placed within, there's going to be 6-foot oaks placed all the way down, 8 foot on center, which is the DEP minimal spacing guideline for plantings. Additionally, the size of the house outside of buffer zone has increased. Because we increased the size of the house, we also increased the size of the proposed dry well. So that is now going to be able to handle all of the stormwater that is created from the increase in impervious surfaces. The dry well also shifted to the front yard as well. It previously was in the rear of the property. Additionally, the driveway up in this area changed shape, again, outside of the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, and then the dry well shifted. It was up in this vicinity to the north of the single-family house, but now it's been shifted to the northeast of the single-family house. Do you believe that is it? We also did submit an updated stormwater handbook, or an updated drainage report, which now takes into account the increased size of the house, and that was submitted on Monday to the Conservation Commission for review.
Okay, thank you. So just as a summary, in looking at this plan, the house, the dry wells, the septic system, they're all outside the 100-foot buffer, that's correct?
Correct.
So the part of the plan that is within the buffer zone is the driveway, the beginning of the driveway?
Correct. And the wetland itself is across Orange Street, so here's Orange Street right here. This green line is the approximate wetland line that would cast a buffer zone onto the site.
And I agree with that line, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brandon. All right.
The transgression here was just they started clearing the lot before they had any permission. So at the meeting when this first came up, in fact, it was you who said that you would like to see a row of trees to replace those that were lost within the 100-foot buffer zone. So that's what they're doing here, is they're showing the line of red maples.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's actually red oaks, just for clarification.
Did I say maples? Sorry.
It can be red maples if need be.
I don't think it's the
the
best
two are
play.
interchangeable, in my opinion.
Well, I think the hydrology here is better suited for oaks. I say red maple, it's like automatic pilot.
Okay. I'm fine with this. Jim, any, Mike, any thoughts, questions, comments? Joe?
Unfortunately, you can't close because
I know.
I don't know why DEP hasn't issued a file number.
Right.
Yeah, we will certainly follow up with them prior to the next hearing. We'll send an email, potentially give a call to the circuit rider. I know DEP0 has been sort of slow with some of these projects, especially going over the drainage reports for all of these lots that we've submitted. So I think that's why they're taking their time on this one specifically.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
But we just wanted to come in tonight to show you all the changes, make sure you didn't have any other questions or comments that we would have to address prior to the issuance of the order of conditions when we receive the DEP file number.
Okay. Any comments from the public? Anybody on Zoom want to make any comment? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I had one comment, kind of left unaddressed. I know they put on the plan that restacked the disturbed rocks along the entry to the driveway, but they don't actually show the existing rock wall in this plan. I was hoping they could show the existing rock wall in this plan, so that we know that it's still on their property.
Okay, yeah, I can certainly ask the engineer and surveyor if they can add the existing rock wall to the plan, and I'll also do that for lot 11, because I'm sure that the same comment applies for
Yes.
that one as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So we need a motion to continue.
Anyone like to make a motion to continue this public hearing?
Moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Joe, seconded by Jim. All those in favor?
Jim Farr, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Okay, I'd like to open number 12, 6:30 PM, NOI, DEP number 143. Also, no number from DEP yet. A public hearing continued for notice of intent, Christopher Betancourt, Orange Street, lot number 11, single-family home, map 266, lot 13-11.
So Tom Schutz here from Gotta Consulting on behalf of the applicant at Orange Street, Lot 11. We made, again, some minor plan changes at the request of the commission from the last hearing. We also did some changes to the site plan, as we just discussed on Lot 10. Many of those changes apply to Lot 11 as well. Let me share my screen so we can go over that. So Lot 11 is just here to the north of the property. We have the green wetland line that extends down. This is the 25-foot buffer zone shown in yellow. The 50-foot buffer zone is shown in this light orange color, and then the outer 100-foot buffer zone is shown in this dark color. The only area that's within the buffer zone on this specific project is the driveway. We also extended the row of trees down from Lot 10. That is also going to extend into Lot 11, which answers the comment from the last question. Additionally, we increased the size of the house on this property as well. We changed the shape of the driveway to accommodate a side entry garage, as you can see in this vicinity to the south of the single-family house. The proposed septic tank has shifted to the northeast due to the increased size of the house. The dry well has also shifted and increased in size. And then there's also some minor grading changes shown in the rear of the house right here near the service well. At this point, I'll open it up to the commission to see if they have any questions for me. Yeah, the only changes within the buffer zone that were made were just these trees being added. And additionally, we submitted drainage calcs that show the increase of impervious surfaces for the newly increased dry well size.
All right, thank you. Small point, but I noticed that there's a label in front or to the left of the septic system that says row of 6-foot red oaks, 8 feet on center. That shouldn't be there?
Yes. To the...
So between the septic system and Orange Street. I'm seeing a note.
The note here?
Nope. Go towards the septic system.
This one? This
No.
vicinity?
Oh, wait, I'm looking at a different plan.
I think you might be.
Are you not, you're seeing my site with my cursor? I'm looking at the site plan for this lot. I don't see anything in the septic system that denotes a row of trees aside from this call out right here with the arrows.
They submitted a revised,
Yeah, the most recent is dated 6/12.
Oh, I haven't gone. That's the last one, too, isn't it?
It's the right one.
There you go. That's it.
All right, sorry, thank you. That was on the last plan.
We'll also add the rock wall to this site plan as well, as a note from the last hearing.
Sure. You might end up having to move the trees back a little bit just to show the rock wall and the trees.
That's fine, that's totally fine with us. That's not a big deal. If we have to move them back a little bit, that's totally okay.
Okay.
Any comments from commission members?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Any comments from the public? Anyone on Zoom? All right, I think we're good with the plan.
Perfect, thank you, and we'll see you in July.
Thank you.
Do I need to make a motion to continue?
Yes.
To July 15th?
Second.
Motion's been made by Jim and seconded by Joe to continue this public hearing to July 15th at 6:30. All those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Okay. Updates. 4 Birch Street enforcement order.
So we did not receive, and we weren't sure if we were going to get a restoration and as-built in time for this meeting, but we did not receive anything in time for this meeting. So we'll keep this on our agenda for the next one and give him a little bit more time to submit a restoration and RDA. That's really it.
I think, given how busy all the engineers and surveyors are, I think it's reasonable.
We did issue the enforcement order, so it's still in effect.
You know, he was very cooperative the last one.
I don't disagree. I didn't expect we were going to get anything for today. We have another month till the next meeting, so we sure should get something for that one.
So,
Hopefully, we'll get something before, in time to be able to really look at it.
They've already signed the enforcement order for this one last meeting, right? And-
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're all set. But we're probably still going to need that one.
yeah,
Just keep it out.
yeah.
Is this something that we should send a reminder to, or
Yep.
contact them? in
Absolutely, yes.
Sometime in early July, okay. All right, next up, Lakeshore Drive Enforcement Order, 56 Lakeshore Drive, Robert Moran, boulder moving.
On the meeting, not here. He is. Fran, you have that email that Bob gave us?
Yeah. For this right here, Lakeshore?
Yep.
I have some correspondence from OHI Engineering. Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
this is an email from Jim Borbach, president of OHI Engineering, to Mr. Moran. Good afternoon, Bob. As discussed, this email is to confirm that you have retained OHI Engineering, Inc. to assess and design mitigation measures for stormwater runoff from your property onto Lakeshore Drive. Based on the anticipated requirements to conduct the evaluation and mitigation design, we expect that a minimum of 60 days will be needed to complete the work. So this was sent out on June 3rd to Mr. Moran. So they're going to need to, beginning of August, to do what they need to do.
This is for the design of the mitigation.
The mitigation, right, of the slope going up the hill that has been having constant issues with since last August.
All right. I'm confused.
Yeah, there's also another issue regarding stones in the pond.
Right, okay.
That's what I want to bring up next. So
Okay.
it's two parts.
That's what I was thinking it was 2 parts, and I was
Right.
hoping it wasn't 3 parts, because I know we have another issue with someone else. So, okay.
Okay, so the second part of this equation is the fact that 2 or 3 months ago, someone in a Kubota excavator took stones from the land underwater in Manchog Pond and moved them to the bank of Mr. Moran's property without a permit. We have photographic evidence, we have video evidence of the machine down there on the bank, if not in the water, moving stones from underneath the water to the bank of the pond. So that was all done. So that's, I drafted an enforcement order, and I'll go over that with you right now. So in the enforcement order, the violation involves unauthorized work within land underwater bodies and waterways and inland bank of Manchog Pond, which is a great pond of the Commonwealth, without prior approval by the Conservation Commission. So I think that's pretty straightforward. And Mr. Moran has admitted the fault himself in the past. So I think that it is prudent to issue an enforcement order. The question is, though, is that what should the order be? And it's not just as simple as, you get 2 options. You could say, all right, you need to restore it. But that means putting the stones back where they were. And right now, we're in summer season, so the water's up high. So you're not going to be able to do that right now. You'd have to wait until drawdown, and you get some, some bare ground in that more shallow area of the pond to put them all back. Or you require an after-the-fact notice of intent to allow him to do the work that he did and just keep what he has. But it's not that simple. Because Manchog Pond is a great pond, that means if he's going to do any disturbance to the land under the water, which is considered public domain, it's not even on his property. His property stops at the bank, at the mean high water mark. So that means he would have to obtain a Chapter 91 license from the Department of Environmental Protection. No one has, to my knowledge, has notified the DEP regarding this issue. But the thing is that if you say, all right, file an after-the-fact notice of intent, then he will also have to apply for a Chapter 91 license to do the moving around of the rocks that he did. So those are the 2 options, is to restore it and put Humpty Dumpty back together the way it was before, or allow a after-the-fact notice of intent, but also notify DEP of the Chapter 91.
But wouldn't he have to notify DEP in either case?
DEP would definitely be notified, because when you submit a notice of intent, DEP does the review, and I'm sure they're going to pick up on, wait a minute, what? He did what? I need to contact the Chapter 91 people. They're probably going to...
No matter what he does, he's going to need that Chapter 91.
Well, if you say put everything back, do you really have to get in touch with the 91 people? You probably should, if you want to be really technical about it, but I'll leave that to you to decide.
Do you have pictures of the rock
I do.
along the bank?
Fortunately, I haven't logged into Zoom yet, so give me a minute to do that.
Yeah, I think the rocks were all placed super nice and neat up against the shore and stuff.
They were.
Yeah.
Right. So the reason I asked is because I did want to see how they were placed and how the bank looked adjacent to where the rocks are and where the rocks are. Because if the rocks are stabilizing the bank to some extent,
Then let it be. Okay. I think they were, but from what I can remember.
Can I speak?
yes.
Can I get sharing, please?
Your name and address, please?
Dave Cahill, 14 Lakeshore Drive. I previously owned that property, and not the only rocks that he took out of the water, they trucked them out also. A lot of rocks were trucked out.
Okay.
Those dumpsters and the dump trucks took them out.
Yep.
So all those rocks that you see there weren't there before.
Right, that I understand.
So
Yep.
they
That's what
they
was
took them out of the pond, they put them there, then they trucked a lot of them out also. And I got some better pictures, but...
This is a
but
good
right
picture
there,
right here.
This is a good one right there. And also on the property line, he stacked them all up too, that he took out.
So are there, like, I see rocks, and I see a little break in the rocks, and then more rocks to the other side of that birch tree that's leaning on an angle. Were those all,
To my knowledge,
that
they
was
were.
all done, right? That
Yes,
was all done.
that's all new. And to my knowledge, that was all done by moving rocks that were in the water out of there and along the shore.
Did you put pictures up there with the excavator in the pond?
I have them.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me bring those up. Nope, not that one. When was it?
And this was brought attention to Matt many times, nothing's ever been said also.
Oh, here it
It's an environmental disaster.
is. Here it is, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to abut that statement. Since this came up, we brought this to your attention immediately. This has not
It's never been on the video
not
yet.
been held back or anything.
Yes, it has.
It has not.
Yes, it has.
Mr. Cahill, it has not.
Mr. Cahill, you were given permission to speak, but not to continue speaking.
Just telling the truth.
Okay, so now I'm having an issue with my, what do you call it?
Video.
Yeah, the video extension.
Oh, so
Let's see if I can do a movie here.
she took it from a phone, and you have to save it on your desktop.
Yeah, it's now an
Look, and
it's
then-
now an
Yeah,
HEIC
she took it
instead
from
of a
the phone.
JPEG.
Yeah. You
And I
take it
gotta-
from the phone, you put it right in there, it's encoded. You take it from your phone, put it on your desktop, and then from your desktop on there.
Yeah, it says you need a new codec to play this item.
Yeah, that happens to me, too.
I need an HEVC video extension for 99 cents. Not now.
Come on, you were just...
It's not coming. So the issue is that I have pictures of a machine on the bank showing the moving of the rocks from the water onto the bank. So
You have them on your laptop?
I have them on my laptop.
So you can we come look at your laptop?
Absolutely.
Can we do that?
Sure.
All right.
Plus, I also took dump trucks out.
Well, yeah, the best I'm going to be able to do is just show you the...
Or spin it
thumbprints.
around and,
Yeah, sure. The best I'm going to...
Share that.
Well, the thing is, if I try to open it up,
No, no,
it
no.
tells me I need the extension.
I just meant the whole thing in general,
Oh,
like this whole page.
oh, yeah. See? This is why.
yep.
Okay. Share. And, okay. And that's as big as I'm going to be able to get. So, starting here, here, see them,
Can you hold down the control button and then zoom with your mouse?
this is as big as it gets.
Kidding.
I can make it smaller, but that's
Yeah,
as
there
big
you go.
as it gets. You can pretty much see the sequence here. And some of the movies too, so I have an opportunity. But I can confirm that that's on Mr. Morant's property and the machine's down.
Yeah, they also trucked a lot of them out. And the DEP will be notified also.
All right, well, this looks to me like a very significant act of, work within not just, as you said, the bank, but also within the water body of a great pond.
Right.
It's, I think it's something that we don't want to have happen again. Therefore, I believe that we need to have this be filed as a notice of intent.
Okay, so the order is going to be file a notice of intent for the work that he already did, which means he's also going to have to notify, well, Chapter 91 will also be notified.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking is
Yeah.
what's needed. Do you feel like that is the best course of action for us? Something
If
as
you think
extreme as
it's-
this?
If the commission believes that what he did is ultimately permittable, then an after-the-fact notice of intent is fine, and that's what you want. Or do you think that you would have never allowed this to begin with, and what he really needs to do is put everything back the way it was? Those are the two choices.
So if you put everything back the way it was, now you're going to be more disturbance? It's going to be
Plus, he's going to be trucking.
No, but,
I'm just,
Sure.
I'm just,
yeah, no, I mean.
Like, how much
they're
more are
gonna
you
be
gonna-
redisturbing the area for sure.
Right.
But they will also need to restore what they disturb again. So they'll have to do something on the bank. Well, we will need to require a restoration plan, correct, as to what,
If you decide to go that route, yep.
so I take back, I mean, this is not something that I would have ever accepted when a notice of intent was filed. I would never have said you can remove rocks from the Great Pond and start trucking them away. So I take back what I said. I mean, I don't think a notice of intent is the way to go. I think it's we have an enforcement order now, correct?
We do not for this particular matter. So this one, I wrote up a draft enforcement order, and if I can get my Microsoft Word to actually work. So what is the order? Is the order going to be file an after-the-fact notice of intent because you would allow this ultimately? Otherwise, you're just wasting everybody's time and money, right? Or do you think that the order should be restore it and come up with a restoration plan by a date certain? And then you can make a decision, you can vote on it, ratify the enforcement order, and we'll send around the signature page. So, your call.
Yeah, I don't think I would have voted to allow this work to occur. So I have to say the enforcement order with a restoration plan would be the way that I would vote, or I would prefer.
How about everybody else?
I'm going to abstain from it because this is my last meeting, so.
Fair enough. Jim? So you got to think to yourself, all right, would you have been okay with what he did?
I would have probably said no, not okay with what he did.
Okay.
So if he would have applied for it, we would have probably all said no.
And denied the application.
Right, but then, how much rocks did he truck out and everything else is my other question. Because if you're going to do the restoration, you have no idea. Right? So yes, you're going to put the rocks back in there, but then
The only thing we can deal with is what we know, right? We
Yep.
know that those rocks against the bank definitely came from underneath the water. How much actually got trucked out? I wasn't there, I didn't see it myself, no one else saw it. I don't have any video or photographic evidence of it getting trucked off, at least not yet. So that's where I'm at.
Right, but we can request that rocks be put back in the water.
You may.
At least the ones that are there on the bank, right?
Yes, you may.
We don't know if it was 50 or 10, but we can certainly say, and we can give them a number to put back.
Okay.
Well, how about all of them?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then, the big part of what, I want to see is, how is that bank going to be put back together, basically?
Stabilized?
Stabilized, right.
Okay.
Because the bank has been disturbed in the placement of the rocks. I'm guessing that the bank was cut into a little bit, so the rocks could be shoved up against it.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So, that's what I feel.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll need to know that. So that can be part of the restoration project review. How about you, Mike? Would you have allowed this to begin with?
No, not if you knew about it.
Yeah, so it sounds like a restoration plan is. Okay, so this, you're going to issue an enforcement order, require a restoration plan. Any date on that?
I'm sorry?
Date certain that the restoration plan would be required by? And remember, OHI said 60 days last time. That I just read.
Next meeting in August is the 19th.
Right. I think the 19th is a
Yep.
reasonable date.
Yep, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Right. It's going to, in fact, it's going to be next winter before they
They
can
can do any
the
work.
work anyway.
exactly. Yep.
So moved.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jim LeQuire. I live in Worcester, Mass., 126 Fairhaven Road. I've been working for Mr. Goodison on that property for the last 2 years. Excuse me? The amount of rocks that were taken out of there were a lot. There was a dumpster load of rocks, a 15-yard, 20-yard dumpster, loaded from front to back, and the pile that you see in the pictures that are on the left-hand side. So as far as him getting all the rocks back and replace them, I don't know how that would work.
Well, we know that's not going to,
You know what I mean?
not going to happen.
Plus with dump trucks taking over.
But it was a load, and, he was there, he saw it, he took pictures of it, he took pictures of the vehicle, so he does know what's going on as far as what was hauled out of there. And I see it because I'm there 24/7, pretty much,
Okay,
taking care of the property. All right?
all right, thank you.
Could I speak?
Anybody on Zoom? Yes.
Yes, I'm Janice Cahill, 771 Northwest Main Street. If you're gonna have him put all these rocks back in where they were, how do you go about doing that? Now the whole shoreline has been disturbed. Any fish or crawfish or anything else, you're gonna put rocks in there, you're gonna crush them all? Everything's changed, the whole shoreline has changed there. It's not just a matter of putting rocks back into the water. The rocks that have been removed have done damage to the environment, and luckily there was no oil leak from his excavator that was in the water. So I don't know how you can agree to let him just put everything back the way it was.
Well,
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, we're not in agreement that they should have been removed, and we need for him to propose to us how he is going to restore this. So we will have a chance to review his plan and make a determination as to what you just said, how many rocks, where they go, how he's going to do it without further damaging the environment, all those issues.
Right, and I think a big part of that is that if and when he puts the stones and boulders back, it would have to be in the wintertime after the drawdown, and there's some exposed, hopefully, there wasn't much exposed bed of the lake this year because it was so rainy, but I would hope that we get some better exposure of the lake after drawdown this year, and that way, less likely to do things like crush the crayfish. And if anything, once they put the stones and boulders back, it's going to recreate the habitat for the crayfish that they lost, because right now, it's just mostly, sand or dirt or muck or what's out there without any kind of what we call habitat features. When you have the rocks and you have stones like that, it creates habitat for the invertebrates like the crayfish, for the fish itself. It's just, it's inconvenient for boating, right, because of the shallow rocks, but for the habitat, it's valuable. And the Conservation Commission is more concerned with the habitat.
Right, I understand that. But over the summer, the bottom of the lake in that area is going to shift and change from waves and whatnot. So how is he going to know where to put the rocks down? How does that work?
Nobody knows exactly where the rocks came from, except maybe the guy that was in the machine. So they're just going to have to come up with a plan to try and put the boulders back in the same general area in which they came. I don't know how much that we could do any better than that. The only thing worse than putting them back is not putting them back.
No. I'll be happy when the state's notified about it, because this has gone beyond town conservation.
True. So the question is through the chair. So if you have a restoration requirement, there's no requirement to notify DEP. Does the commission want to notify DEP about this regarding Chapter 91? Do you have the willpower to do that?
I would say so, yes.
I'll notify the DEP. I don't care about the commission. I'll notify him.
Myself, too.
Sounds like somebody's going to do it.
Yes.
It's going to be done.
So if anybody's going to do it, it should probably come from the Conservation Commission.
All right. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, through you to Brandon.
Yeah.
So we notify DEP, would they then take enforcement responsibility from this?
Only
commission?
through Chapter 91.
Right.
Right, because they handle that solely by themselves. As far as the work in land underwater bodies and the land work on the inland bank under the Wetlands Protection Act, I presume that would remain with the Conservation Commission unless the DEP's wetlands program, different than the Chapter 91 program, decides to take it away from the town.
Right, and the DEP will have a say as to the restoration plan, so the questions about...
They will, under Chapter 91, they definitely will.
Right.
Yep.
So
it's going to get a little more complicated than just approving a restoration plan, because DEP Chapter 91 program, I'm sure, is going to have input.
Right. And, I want their input, so...
I agree, yeah, I do too.
So is it the flavor of the board to notify DEP?
Yes.
But not issue the enforcement order for restoration? And see what DEP comes back with?
Through the chair, I still think it's germane to issue an enforcement under the Wetlands Protection Act. And then you notify DEP under Chapter 91, and then things start rolling.
Okay.
I agree, I think an enforcement order is needed, so...
So moved.
Thank you. Been moved that we issue an enforcement order by Jim. Any second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike.
Okay, we have the signature page.
All those in favor?
Jim Farrar, aye.
Mike Rocco, aye.
I sustained.
Abstain. Joe? Mark Monjam, aye. So do you need a motion to contact DEP?
It wouldn't hurt. Make a motion to contact DEP?
Second.
All those in favor of contacting DEP and notifying them of the enforcement order?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Could I ask one more question?
You may?
As far as the water going down Lake Shore Drive, Mr. Moran was supposed to have an engineer design something that was supposed to be due with this, at this meeting. Has anything come up with that?
Well, we took different actions, right? So, Brandon read the letter.
Through the chair, I read into the record an email from John Borbach, who is the president of OHI Engineering, confirming that Mr. Moran did indeed retain OHI Engineering, but it was going to take them 60 days to get anything on paper and submit it to the Conservation Commission. And that was written on June 3rd, so it's going to be until early August until the Conservation Commission sees anything from them. And I don't think the Conservation Commission took any hard action on it. So is the commission's, through the chairs, the commission okay with that email saying that we're going to have to wait till early August?
I'm okay with that.
I'm all right with that.
Have you been out to the site? Do you know if there's any sediment and erosion control that's been installed or restored? There used to be. I saw pictures of it previously, but it had been washed out and disturbed. Just want to make sure that they are protecting.
Good question, Mr. Chairman. Last time I was there was with Mr. Benoit. That was what, last month?
Yeah.
Sometime in May. So there were erosion controls at the bottom of the hill. There was sediment that was built up behind it. Last we spoke to Mr. Moran on site, we said, dig out the sediment that's behind it, shore up your erosion controls. I haven't been back to double check it though. Have you, Matt? No. Yeah. So we can follow up on that. So.
Okay, thank you.
Just one more last thing. As far as the rocks coming out of the water and the excavator being in the water, are there no fines for that? Is that something that's allowed?
That's another good question. That's the commission's prerogative. I'll leave it with you.
I've been on that lake for 64 years and nobody's ever put an excavator in the water. And if they have, they get reported and then there are fines and everything else. I don't understand why that's not the case here.
Well, it has. We did just.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you do not ever take a machine and take rocks or anything out of a lake or a pond.
Correct. So we just issued an enforcement order. We have requested, as part of the enforcement order, a restoration plan. And so we are in the process of getting repairs made. It's not going to happen overnight, though.
No, and you're also going to notify the DEP?
Yep. That's correct.
Okay. So I'll follow up with that, make sure if they're aware of it.
And yes, there are sometimes fines that are part of this, of an enforcement order. We haven't voted on any fines as of yet. And that's what we're going to talk about next.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So when we do fines on enforcement orders on other projects, it's been not just a single fine, but it's a daily fine, correct?
Correct. It's $200
per day.
Per day, per offense. Or if there's an order of conditions, it could be per condition that is in violation. So there's no order of conditions in this one, so it would be per offense. And I suppose there would be 2 offenses. The first offense would be unauthorized disturbance of land underwater, and the second one would be unauthorized alteration of inland bank. So I suppose you could go as high as $400 a day, if you decide to do that.
Well, we're at a, it's hard for me to say that we should be fining them on a per-day basis when we know that we can't get a plan back for 60 days and we can't do the work until this winter. So I would suggest that maybe that we not issue any fines at this point, but if we don't receive information back in the 60 days that it was said that we would have a restoration plan, then at that point, I would consider fining at that point. I don't know. That's me.
I mean, we're already going to report it to DEP plus what, Chapter 91 and everything else. So, and like Brandon said, everyone's super busy right now, right, for all the restorations and stuff. So I think we could hold off and wait and see.
Is that okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, if you wanted to, you could, let's say that, you give them 60 days and you still don't get anything, you could make the fines retroactive to today. And then they would get a full 60 days all at once. So you could do that. So that's another option.
Yeah.
Does that not go back to the date that the rock?
Could you state your name, please? Could you state your name and address, please, and wait for...
Yes, Janet,
Wait.
Janice Cahill, 71 Northwest Main. Does that go back to the day that the rocks were removed?
No, it does not, ma'am.
No, it would go back to tonight, because tonight is the first official, I guess you call, meeting on this, in which action is being taken.
I would be... Mr. Moran was at our last meeting. He's responded to us by hiring an engineer. I'm okay with waiting the 60 days and but notifying them that we need to have that restoration plan in 60 days, or you know, the fines may start at that point. That would be me. And not making it retroactive.
So we'll send out the enforcement order, Mr. Chairman, with a cover letter stating that. And that way he knows he's on notice for 60 days to get a restoration plan. What meeting would that be?
I think it's August 19th.
August 9th. So we'll call it August 19th, right?
August 20th, I think.
Okay.
According to our calendar.
So August 19 or 20, have a restoration plan in by that time, or the commission will start finding starting on that.
Correct.
Okay. So that way, Mr. Moran will be on notice.
And the fines would be $400 per day.
Sounds right. You can make that decision and vote on it in August, if it comes to that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Is that that?
I think so.
All right?
All right.
All right. Now, is there an other item for this Lakeshore Drive? Because that was, we had the boulder issue, and was there another issue?
Well, it's the whole Lakeshore Drive runoff and erosion issue. Mr. Moran's hired OHI to help come up with a plan to finish the stormwater attenuation on the road so the water doesn't go flying down to the lake like it has been.
Okay.
So I think we're moving along.
All right. So next item is CRG 105 and 123 Gilboa Street.
Yep.
Is anyone here for that project that can speak to it?
Yes.
Okay, where are we at with the restoration plan in Uxbridge and Douglas and
Beal sent out
just
an
state your
email.
name and address.
Mitchell Roush, project manager for Clayco, the general contractor for the project. Earlier tonight, we were to be in Uxbridge for them to potentially approve the notice of intent and all the work to go forward. They didn't have quorum, so they canceled the meeting. Todd Morey sent out an email earlier to Brandon and Matt with some requests to it, and I'll let them fill you in on that and see where you want to go with that point.
Mr. Chairman, I can read the email if you'd like.
Please, thank you.
So, Cube Zucchipo project was scheduled to be in front of Uxbridge Conservation Commission this evening to complete the process to obtain and order conditions for the restoration work. Unfortunately, the commission will be canceling the meeting due to lack of quorum. Their next meeting is July 1st. This time, on behalf of CRG, Beals and Associates is requesting that any and all fines related to the restoration work be suspended effective today until July 1 and the approval of the order of conditions. We believe that it should be clear to the Douglas Conservation Commission that all reasonable means and methods to commence the restoration work have been taken, and through no fault of CRG or Clayco, delays to the commencement of the restoration work are occurring. On behalf of the entire project team, we appreciate your consideration of this matter. Todd Morey, PE, Beals and Associates.
I recommend, Mr. Chairman, that we do just like we did the last time. Go through the remaining special conditions that are currently outstanding that they're getting fined for, that we've been writing tickets for every day, and see if there are any more that can be taken off the board. I think that's the fairest way to do it, just like we did last time. Pretty much have a round robin. And before we do that, it might be useful for me to go through out some pictures that I took just from today of what the site looks like, so I can give you a little tour. Okay?
Excellent. Yep.
Okay, let me bring those up.
While he's bringing those up, could I just ask where you stand with testing the infiltration on the bottom of the basin?
Starting back on May 7th, and probably a couple weeks prior to that, we started scraping the bottom of the basin to pull a lot of the muck off to help dry some of that material down there. So we'd already scraped about 4 to 6 inches off of that. Last week or the week prior to that, and actually 2 weeks ago, I apologize, it was when I was out here last, some infiltration testing took place. There were areas of excellent infiltration, and there were areas of still further concern. I don't have a complete plan in front of me of what to do, but the infiltration has taken place, and I don't know if CRG has shared that or if Beals has shared that, but I did have Yankee Engineering out there for the original 3 test pits, or for 3 test pits that were in the restoration plan. Those results were shared, although the elevations or the footage on them were incorrect at that time. And so Yankee is actually revising that report.
Through the chair, I do have a soil observation report from Yankee Engineering and Testing dated June 3. And they talk about how they did testing on that day. I can go through it real quick if you want the details.
I would like to hear yes.
Okay.
I'm going to excuse myself here because it's a continuation. So,
All right. Taking off?
I'm taking off.
All right.
Good night, Joe, thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure working with you guys.
Yes, you too.
Thank you, Joe.
Have a good one.
Okay, it reads, arriving on site this morning as requested, the undersigned observer met with Mr. Cam Nelson, the project superintendent. During a brief conversation with Mr. Nelson, it was learned that Beals Associates was scheduled to be on site to excavate test pits and run infiltration tests on the soil contained in the retention pond area. The excavator began to excavate a hole for visual clarification of the soil contained in the area. It was noted that at plus or minus 4 feet below finished grade, a plus or minus 1 foot layer of unsuitable material, including tree stumps and tree roots, etc., was encountered. So this was in the infiltration basin 1.
It's below my final grade, about a foot below my final grade.
And you found some tree stumps and tree roots. I wouldn't have thought that we would have found them.
It's over 50 years of a site, it's hard to say what's buried underneath there.
I suppose.
And when you don't go that deep with your excavations, you're never going to find it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because this was a gravel pit.
There was more than just gravel.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Once the test pit was excavated and everyone had a visual idea of the soil profile, the Beals crew began to set up for a double ring infiltrometer testing. First run, the contractor was informed that the top 2 inches of material needed to be scraped off so that the leftover silty sediment would not compromise the results. The Beals crew used a double ring method to perform a perk test of the top coarse material to calculate the drainage rate of that material. The crew performed the testing and concurred that it was draining at a rate of 1/4 inch per hour. Second run, the test run was at 6 inches below the finished grade elevation of the retention pond area. This test yielded nearly impermeable results. Third run, the crew began the third test at 6 inches below finished grade. The same result as test number 2, that is no water loss, were recorded, and the crew decided to move towards the other side. Fourth run, the crew decided to excavate a test pit once again to visualize the material present. The excavation went down to 8 feet below finished grade elevation, and it was noted that approximately plus or minus 2 feet below surface grade was a clean sand and gravel, followed by a plus or minus 1 foot layer of unsuitable material, that is tree roots and stumps. A sample was obtained and returned to our laboratory for gradation testing for possible later use. Under the layer of unsuitable material was again clean sand and gravel. Fifth run, the crew moved to another location and excavated down to plus or minus 8 feet below finished grade elevation to visually observe what materials were present. After the excavation showed no sign of unsuitable materials, the crew decided to run another infiltration test on the topsoil. Sixth run, the excavator cleared off 6 inches of residue from the top surface, and the Beals crew then began their double ring infiltration test. During the test, the outer ring had a failure and water escaped the control area. Therefore, the test was void and another test in the same location was performed. Once the test was complete, the recorded data showed that the rate of loss was 0.2 centimeters per minute, or roughly 4.8 inches per hour. Excuse me. Reported by Eric Moody. So, and if we go to the pictures of the pond, let's just go right to the pond. Here we go, here's the pond. It rained over the weekend. Pretty decent here. I think they got it a little bit more rain, a little more intense further north, but there was, from what I understand, there was still a decent amount of rain over the weekend.
About 3/4 of an inch at my house.
Okay. So this is what the basin looks right now. They are actively pumping water from this spot right here and this spot right here. They've got 2 frac tanks going, both of those spots. One's going to one frac tank, one's going to the other frac tank. And then what they're doing is they're transporting the clean water to the other side of the building and put it in one of those, the large underground infiltration, what do you call them, Mitch?
They're storm trap systems, they're infiltration.
Yeah, the underground infiltration system. So they're pumping out the water, but there's still quite a bit of water in here that's not draining. So it just seems to me that what they need to do is they need to scarify it down to the suitable material. And, tell me if I'm crazy, Mitch.
Oh, I see a guest and I see a phone number up there, and I don't know if those are Beals or CRG on there. And if they're not, then that's fine.
I don't know. You want to ask if anybody's from Beals?
They are working a plan for us to take various levels and bringing it down to taking all that unsuitable out of there. I don't have that plan yet, but that's what they're planning.
Yeah, it seems like that would be necessary.
It would be, because it's not going to filter through clay.
It's not going to go through clay. And,
So-
the drainage system is contingent upon that infiltrating, so.
So I need a plan. There is a geotech engineer, and there's Beal civil engineer involved for what has to come out, what is, and what will be monitored as it is removed to get it down to an area that will be sufficient for the infiltration.
So that still needs to be done, and you're working on that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. So any questions you have on that, Mr. Chairman, on the basin, or what needs to be done, what's happened, where we're going?
No, I mean, sounds like you're working on it with the engineers, and they're determining how best to resolve the issue of lack of infiltration.
I wish I could say I'm an engineer, so I've got to work with other people, yes.
Right. Is there anyone on Zoom that wanted to speak to this issue? Okay, go ahead, Brandon.
Okay. So then we come to the...
This is Fred Ferraro with CRG, Senior Vice President.
Hi, Fred.
They are, when I say they, Beals has been out there along with Clayco, investigating, making sure that where there is infiltration and when there's not infiltration and why that is. But again, a lot of this work is all in kind of this preliminary stage due to Uxbridge not giving us actual approval to do the work to remediate the actual basin. I just want to make sure that's clear. Otherwise, this would have been done 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But we can't. I think, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. This basin would be done today if we would have permission to do that.
Okay, wasn't this testing done on June 3rd?
Go, Mr. Chairman.
I've
got to go.
Okay.
I think he's talking about actually doing the excavation of the muck and all that and making the bottom, to where it needs to be. The testing, they were allowed to do the testing. What Fred's saying is that they just couldn't do the actual construction work to get the basin back to where it needs to be.
In other words, we could have done the testing at any time.
We've been waiting, excuse me, but we've been waiting to do this, and now that we knew, because we anticipated getting approval tonight, because everybody signed off on it, the engineers and so on, and we thought they were going to approve it tonight, and we were ready to basically start tomorrow doing what we had to do. So we basically been timing the pumping down of the basin and everything else with getting approval to actually execute the work. We're not gonna, the idea of two months ago, pumping it all down, getting it all ready, and then it filled back up, wasn't really what we were looking to do. I mean, we've been waiting for Uxbridge, and finally, we thought we were going to get the approval tonight when we went to the meeting, and they didn't have the meeting. Now they're pushing it to, I believe it's July
1, yes.
Okay.
So we're basically in another holding pattern theory, now unless we make a decision to just go ahead and do it without them. I don't know where we stand just yet. It's extremely frustrating.
Sure, I understand. Okay, so what we can do is we can look at the, at what we can approve and what we can accept. So we're going to take a look at the items that we are you're getting fined on and see what we can do about that. Because it would not be, I agree, it's, not fair to continue fining you if you can't do the work. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then maybe we just go through the remaining outstanding that were not suspended last meeting and see if there's any more that can be taken off the board.
Sure.
Fair enough? Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so where are we? Oh, before we do that, let me just go finish the tour here. Just give you an idea of what the site looks like. So this is from Northeast Main Street, the entrance at Northeast Main Street. Looking in, so the grass is definitely growing. However, if it looks good from far, but it's kind of far from good. There's still some issues where we have some real erosion happening, right? So we get spots like this. There's that. It's working pretty good. You can see that the pipe coming out of the frac tanks is going over to this side, so it's going to the northwest side of the building, and that's at the very end. Oh, a nice improvement that I saw is that they have the jute net on the lower part of the basin that wasn't there before. This part right here still doesn't have the jute netting, and there's still a little bit of real erosion, but for the most part, you can see over here, they've got the jute netting, the erosion control blanket up, and the grass is starting to grow, so that's starting to look good. I think that's a great improvement. And of course, this is the spot where the spillway happened, the overspill happened that went into the wetland that started this whole thing. And what Samantha pointed out to me today, looking down at the wetland at the bottom of the hill, is that we continue to have this breakout near the bottom of the slope. That's you can see it's creating a little channel that continues to go down into here. So there's some kind of breakout happening.
That's because we're not allowed to repair it.
Right.
So it's going through the road, and it's not going into the storm catch basin, and it's coming through the riprap.
Okay.
So because I'm not allowed to repair it, I can't even put the stabilization down there.
Fair enough, Mitch. We still got some of that going on. That could use some refreshing.
If I can. The erosion measures that we were required to put in, i.e. the silt sacks, slow water from getting into the storm system. And in some of the rains that we've had, it actually puddles up around the site at some of those silt sacks. And if you notice, each one of those is at a catch basin where it's a silt sack, and it's a low spot. So the water actually fills up, goes over the curb, and washes that out. So I'm continually repairing these because when it rains, it's washing out the area. But I'm also doing what I'm required by putting silt sacks in. So all I'm saying is this is what in one of the storms we were out there, we noticed this happening, is the water built up, jumped the curb, and that's why it's eroding out. So we are continually fixing it, but Brandon, I'm not going to disagree. Yes, it needs continual work.
Mm-hmm. So this is on the south side of the building. So the grass is coming in good. We still got some real erosion coming down the slope.
Yeah, that looks way, way better.
Yeah, wait. It's getting there, but it's not quite there. This is where all the sediment came down and went into the back parking lot.
And that's recent, right?
That was
that's
like a month
staining?
ago.
It would have to be because I ran a street cleaner through there last week.
Okay.
So this is where the water from the frac tanks is going. So you're going right into the underground chamber. And this is a new spot on the north side, the north road.
I noticed that when I drove through today, and again, I had a street cleaner go through there last week.
Yep.
So I'll be honest, I'm not sure where it came from, if it came off the hill.
It's coming from the parking lot up here, probably because, again.
Yeah, the sacks.
The sacks, and it's overflowing, and it's coming down, see right here? So it's just coming down the hill right here. So that's the last picture. Good?
Good.
So there might be some drain catch basins where the silt sacks would be better off not being on there if the water that's contributing to that area is pretty clean, if it's coming off of roof drains, if it's coming off of previously, established slopes that are pretty well established with grass. It may be better to remove the sacks in those areas so that.
That would be up to the commission because it's part of the plans, which ones could come out.
Right.
Okay. Like that spot right there I just showed you, that last spot, I think that it's pretty stable up there. So if you remove the silt sack from that spot, it would prevent any more sediment from coming down and filling in the road, that's for sure.
Right.
Would you say primarily some of the high spots that have asphalt?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So like I wouldn't take off the silt sack that's
In the back.
in that back on that big grass slope coming down into it.
I
I would
disagree
not.
with you, but on a high spot where, the last picture where Brandon showed me, which was the north parking lot, okay.
Yeah.
We'll be selective about it, but we'll also, what I'll do is I'll circle up a plan and get it off to Brandon and Matt and share it with the board.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
That sounds great, thank you. Okay, so now let's, I can take that off. The last letter, let me share this now. And share. Let's go to the last email, last letter that you wrote me, Mitch, that I have is dated May 21st.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a response to order of conditions, special conditions 21 and 26, orders OOC special conditions 6, 17, 21, 23, 24, 26, and 32 open violations. So those are the ones that are remaining, okay? So special condition 21, and I'll go over it once again. Can you even read that?
There you go.
Okay. So, special condition 21, if required, dewatering activities shall be monitored daily to ensure that sediment-laden water is appropriately settled prior to discharge toward the wetland resource areas. No discharge of water is allowed directly into an area subject to jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act and Douglas Wetland Bylaw. If an emergency dewatering requirements arise, the applicant shall submit a contingency plan to the commission for approval, which provides for the pump water to be contained in a settling basin to reduce turbidity prior to discharge into a resource area. Such plan shall show the location of a sedimentation basin to entrap any soils that may be eroded during construction. Okay, so our response from 521, do you want me to read it or do you want to go over it, Mitch?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, so the response was, since March 2023, dewatering activities have been monitored daily to ensure that sediment-laden water is appropriately settled prior to discharge towards wetland resource areas. All water is being pumped and filtered and discharged into underground infiltration tanks. Readings are coming back under EPA's benchmark of 50 NTUs. An emergency dewatering plan has been previously submitted indicating the use of wear tanks and 3 filters of various micron bag filters, and clean discharge is onto underground infiltration tanks. Investigation on 52124 indicates that sediment flowing into the subject body of water is primarily from rain on the denuded slopes and with free access to the subject body of water. The disturbed subject body of water is also from rain on the rebuilt riprap east slope. The area of denuded soils is restricted for restoration work by the adjacent town of Uxbridge. Investigation of the infiltration basin does not indicate an area of water infiltration, no holes, washouts, or open pathways that would lead to water flowing into the subject body of water. Regardless of natural water, rain onto and into the denuded area at the subject body of water, we are adding another layer of erosion protection on the denuded surface. With the denuded area being restricted for restoration and repair by the adjacent town of Uxbridge, we request relief from these fines based on with the denuded area being restricted for restoration and repair by the adjacent town of Uxbridge, we request relief from fines based on this, be natural water and restriction to repair as of today's date, May 21, 2024. So they're asking relief retroactive to May 21.
And this is for item 21.
Item 21, it has to do with dewatering activities. So they are dewatering infiltration basin 1. They're going through frac tanks. The frac tanks are ultimately going to their underground infiltration chambers.
Okay. And what are the other items that we are still finding them on?
Special conditions 6, 17, 21, 23, 24, 26, and 32.
Those are the ones we're still finding them.
Correct. There were 12.
Yeah, I think so.
Now we're down to 6 or 7. So I think we took like 5 off the board last time.
So what are the 6 or 7?
6, 17, 21, 23, 24, 26, and 32. So that's 7.
Okay, thanks. Why'd you start on 21?
Because that's the one that Mr. Roush decided to start with.
Oh, okay.
Well, we had already covered all the others, and so these were ones where I went back and I was able to present something.
So some of these were going to be, I don't know, one of them at least was in good shape to take off the board this meeting, because I forget exactly why, but we'll get to that in a minute. This is why we're going over them one-on-one again. Do you want to talk more about Special Condition 21? Do you want me to start at the beginning?
No, we can talk about 21, I suppose, if that's where we're starting at. I feel like the work is being done to stabilize the site, and that it just all hinges on the basin, basically, now, and on Uxbridge. So I'm fine with relieving them of this. I'm just not so sure about it. Do you go back to May 21st, or?
That's what they would like to do. This is your call, Mr. Chairman. The board's call. I think my recommendation is do a little round-robin mini vote like we did last time. I think worked very well. What do you think?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I'm trying to remember how we did it last time.
So, do you want to go back to the 21st? Do you want someone can make a motion for today or go back to May 21st, right?
Your call. So the question is, what's changed between May 21st and now? Was it worse on the May 21st than it is now? I don't think it was.
All right, so I'll make a motion to go back to May 21st.
And suspend the fine
And suspend
retroactive
the fine.
to May 21st.
To May 21st.
Okay.
For number 21.
One second on that, Mr. Chairman.
Could I have your name and address, please?
It's Matt Benoit.
Sorry, Matt Benoit, Director of Community Development. We've received fines to date to June 3rd. We've received payment for those fines.
That is true. We have tickets in To what? June 3rd, Sam? We have tickets in through the 12th. Now, it doesn't mean that all the tickets have to be made valid. We can take some of those off the board if you want. Oh, what were we saying, Matt, about June 3rd?
Yes, we've received all the fines from June 3rd, we've received payment for.
Oh, through June 3rd you have.
All right, so
I would say go back to June 3rd then.
As of earlier today.
Oh, good, I did not know that.
all right, so then I'd do June 4th, right?
Just say I'd like to amend my,
I'd like to amend it, number 21, to go back to June 3rd for the suspension, suspend the fines.
thanks for letting us know that, Matt. I didn't know that.
So the motion's been made to suspend the fines as of June 4th. Do you want to second that, Mike?
June 3rd, right, or?
Well, June 3rd was the last day we got it for, so starting on June 4.
Okay.
No go.
Okay.
You need a second?
Yes.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
No? Jim Foran, oh, sorry.
Yep, you want to, we'll have a vote.
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay, 21 is now officially off the board because all fines have been paid up to the date required, and after June 3rd, it's now taken off the board. Okay, so let's go back to Special Condition 6, and let's see if that one can be taken off the board. Special Condition 6 is kind of a long one. It has 4 subparts, but it basically reads, let's see, in addition to Form 5 General Condition 14, any proposed or executed changes in the plans, if within the jurisdiction of the Douglas Conservation Commission, shall require the applicant to inquire of the commission in writing whether the change is substantial enough to require a new or amended filing. Prior to consideration of any such request, the DCC may require the applicant to have the originally approved flagging reestablished. The applicant shall be required to submit the modification request in writing along with all necessary forms and supporting documents in a timely manner for the DCC's consideration. Subpart A, the DCC may require any significant plan modification request to be peer-reviewed, in which the applicant shall submit the necessary funds for Sons Consultant Services. I really don't think that one's in play here, but subsection B, the commission shall also review the...
Well, that's already been done, really, hasn't it?
Well, it
Because-
wasn't paid last time, so that's why I think we left it, right, for the review?
Well, Haley Ward has been reviewing it right now.
Right,
recently.
but she was waiting for payment, right? Or am I thinking of a different one?
I can't say I remember.
Okay.
Anyway, subsection B, the commission shall also review the request and decide if an amended order of conditions is required. As stated, any change that requires modification of approved plans within jurisdictional areas or changes to erosion control plan or stormwater management system may require an amended order of conditions unless the commission decides otherwise at this regularly posted public meeting. If the DCC decides that a change is of significant magnitude to warrant imposition of additional conditions to ensure adequate protection of the resource areas and the interests of the Act, the public hearing shall be required. I think this really, this one right here, mostly had to do with the work that's being done on infiltration basin 1.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, subsection C, any request for modification or amendment of the order shall not be considered or reviewed if the order is expired or if there's an outstanding enforcement order on the subject parcel, except as the DCC may otherwise explicitly allow. Subsection D, any changes proposed to the plans to be installed, the plants to be installed in buffer zone shall be native to the New England region, not listed in the Massachusetts prohibited wetland plant list or the USDA invasive plants database at the time of planting. At least 1 week prior to the pre-construction meeting, a final list of all plants shall be submitted to the DCC for its review. Landscape O&M plan shall be revised to include modifications to plant list. We haven't even gotten to that point, Mitch. Plantings.
We haven't got the plantings yet, but Uxbridge did ask us at their last meeting to have the restoration plan reviewed by a wetland scientist for the plan of plantings, that they were suitable, they were adequate, and they would reestablish the habitat down there. That letter came back as sufficient with some additional suggestions, basically focusing more on a certain type of planting and of that list that had been submitted.
Okay. So on this one, I think it really has to do with this subsection B, like whether or not an amendment is required because of changes to the plan, changes to the erosion control plan or the stormwater management system may require an amended order of conditions. What is your disposition on this one now, today?
Well, I think that there is going to be a change to the plans because of the issues with the infiltration basin, and that the infiltration basin is going to have to get reworked.
It is, and not only that, Mr. Chairman, but they're amending the way that the water leaves the site by creating the emergency overflow, which has been peer-reviewed by Haley Ward, given their blessing, and you're about that, you were this close to getting it approved by Uxbridge.
Yes.
So it looks like it's all a go. It just hasn't happened yet because Uxbridge didn't have a quorum. And the town's consultant, Haley Ward, is okay with the plan. They're also, I believe are they also doing the review for Uxbridge? Or is it another firm?
They did, I believe they did something.
Yeah,
they did.
I know they did
I think they did the NOI review, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So Haley Ward is doing the review for Uxbridge and Douglas, and they're on board with it at this moment.
Yes, and I understand it's all being reviewed, and it's all being accepted, the new design is being accepted, but it is a new design that is a change from the original application. So should it not? Isn't there some avenue that we should be taking to document the changes, or?
You may require an amendment to the order of conditions, given the fact that there are changes being made to the emergency overflow area, should you wish to do that. Right now, we've been dealing with issue after issue after issue. And the issue of the overflow spillway has really been in, I'd say, in Uxbridge's court, because they kind of took up that mantle. And this commission has just kind of been standing back, seeing what's going to happen.
Right. Well, we have to.
Right. So I think we're to the point now where we know that Uxbridge is going to approve the plan that Beals Associates has proposed for the new configuration of how the water is going to exit the site.
See, I would like to hold on to this one, but suspend the fine.
Suspend the fine, okay.
That's my feeling.
So suspend the fine,
I feel-
starting when, from June 3rd?
Yeah, that's fine.
June 4th.
June 4th, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I just want to clarify. So you're wanting an amended plan, but you're going to potentially suspend the fines as of
June 4th.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to understand. So, all right.
Right, so you can get an amended plan, but it doesn't mean that it's an amendment.
Correct.
Because an amendment requires a new public hearing.
Right, and that's not where I'm heading, but I do want to get an amended plan and know.
At least start there?
Right.
Okay.
To know what Uxbridge, has approved, so that we can know what the changes are.
And then you can follow more formally.
Correct.
That sounds great.
Do you want me to make a motion, or?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd love you to.
Make a motion to suspend the fines for number 6 from June 4th forward.
Second that motion?
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay. Next one is Special condition 17. Okay. All right, so here we go. Special condition 17. Accepted engineering and best management practices for construction standards shall be followed in the conduct of all work. All site improvements shall be installed as per approved plans and engineering details shown on them. Any modifications or deviations from approved plans shall only be made upon approval from the DCC or with respect to minor deviations by the DCC's agent. Okay. So this one, again, has to do with any changes to the plan. We kind of, this one kind of dovetails.
I think it dovetails 6, and I feel the same.
Yeah, so it sounds like keep it on the board.
But suspend.
So,
Okay, I'll make a motion for number 17 to suspend fines from June 4th going forward.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the fines from June 4th, but to keep this requirement. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay, we just went over 21. Let's go on to special condition 23. Special condition 23. At no time during or after construction shall fill or other materials be placed or intentionally allowed to slump into or fall beyond the limit of work as shown on the plan. The environmental monitor shall include inspections of slopes and weekly inspection and shall notify the commission if slumping, erosion, or encroachment occurs. So I think this one's pretty straightforward. Has to do with the, the erosion sediment beyond the approved limit of work. And I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mitch, but you say you can't even do that work because you're being prevented through the enforcement order in Uxbridge. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what do you want to do with that?
I'm okay with eliminating this one and suspend, and stopping the fines at 6.3.
Okay, so not only suspend the fines, but also eliminate the violation in its entirety.
A motion.
Okay.
You second that?
Second.
To June 4th, just clarification.
Yes.
June 4th.
Yep, June 4th. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay, that one's off the board. Let's go on to special condition 24. Special condition 24. To the extent practicable, site grading and construction in the buffer zone shall move uninterrupted to completion to avoid erosion and sediment to the wetlands. That's pretty straightforward. What do you want to do with that one, Mr. Chair?
Well, it certainly needs to be suspended, at least. I don't know, Jim, should we remove this one? There's still going to be some work to be done within the buffer zone. But
I would say suspend. Keep, but suspend.
I would say you're right. Because of the buffer zone work that is going to have to occur. I would agree.
All right, so I'll make a motion for number 24 to keep it, but suspend the fines June 4th forward.
Great. Mike, second. Motion's been made and seconded to suspend to keep this item, but to suspend the fines from June 4th.
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay. 26. Special condition 26. After a particular area has been brought to finished grade, that area shall be stabilized permanently against erosion. Achievement of stabilization is considered to be
when the surface shows complete vegetation cover as prescribed in the approved landscape plan. This should be measured by at least 70% coverage by established vegetation. All right, so my observations are, is I think that you overall have 70% coverage by established vegetation. However, we still have rill erosion happening in various places across the site that I just showed you on the pictures, which still can contribute to erosion and sedimentation. So it's I'd say you're almost there, but not quite there. I would like to see these rills filled in and stabilized so we don't have any conduits for water to keep on transporting sediment downhill.
Keep and suspend.
Okay. So I'll make a motion for number 26 to keep it, but suspend from June 4th forward.
Mike, do you have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
And the last on the list is Special Condition 32, which reads, any permanent infiltration stormwater best management practices used as temporary sedimentation basins during construction shall have all construction period sediments removed and legally disposed prior to completion and use as a permanent infiltration BMP. A professional engineer registered in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts shall provide written confirmation that temporary sedimentation basins have been adequately restored for use as a permanent stormwater infiltration BMP. So I think this has to do with stormwater basin, infiltration basin 1.
Basin 1.
Right.
Right.
So they're still working on it.
Still
but
working
the
on
problem
Basin
is,
1. It's not
according to Mitch,
completed.
is it's not complete because Uxbridge is holding them up.
I think we have to keep this one.
Keep it and suspend it from June 4th?
Yes.
All right, so I'll make a motion, number 32, to keep it on the record, but suspend the fines from June 4th forward.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Okay, so Sam, can you go over do the synopsis?
Yep, okay, so for number 21, we have suspend the fines as of 6/4. Number 6,
Are we keeping 21 though?
I didn't catch that in the beginning.
Oh, we were killing that one.
We killed it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to leave it blank then.
Well, no, you can write it down that it's like taken off the board.
Yeah, 21's going to be removed.
Yeah, that's, yeah, yes. Number 6, suspend fines as of 6/4, but receive amended plan for the basin so we know what Uxbridge has approved. Number 17, suspend fines as of 6/4, but keep it as a requirement. Number 23, suspend fines as of 6/4. I think that one's
Also dead.
done.
Yep, that was removed. 23 was removed.
Take off. Number 24, suspend fines as of 6/4, but keep requirement. Number 26, suspend fines as of 6/4, but keep. Number 32, suspend fines as of 6/4, but keep.
Yes.
And that's all.
So we officially took, what, two off the board completely?
2 are completely off, and then, but all of them, the fines have
So we're down to,
suspended.
still we're down to 5, but no more fines.
Correct.
Correct.
I'd say that's progress. I'll take it. I mean,
It's better than the Uxbridge meeting.
at least you guys had a meeting and I was able to sit here, so I can say that. And I can understand not having a quorum, so, but it's been a long time coming. We're getting there.
This is Fred. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming back in. All right.
I will get that.
Thank you.
I get that plan of ones primarily on high spots and asphalt and get that over for your review, and we'll go from there. Thanks, Mitch. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
And Sam. Caught myself. Night.
All right, we pushed off the meeting minutes till the end of the meeting.
There's
January.
someone else here.
May I approach the commission?
I didn't know.
Sure.
For the record, Robert Moran, 56 Lakeshore Drive, and I apologize for not being present when my issue was discussed. I thought with 14 items on the agenda, I could come in when I did, but I was wrong. So, Well, we started half an hour earlier now. We're starting at 6:30 now. that I didn't realize. That I don't think that's on the published agenda. I think it says 6. I thought it said 7.
Not at 6:30.
Oh, it does, okay. Then I missed that.
Well,
Okay.
just rather permit going forward.
6:30, okay.
We'll get out of here earlier.
Good. So I just thought I would give the commission a chance to ask questions of me if there were any. I understand there's an enforcement order was voted on, and I'll work within that. But I can also offer an update that we have contracted with OHI, and their estimate on the design time is 60 days. 60 days from a couple of weeks ago when we made that arrangement. It has to be some surveying and grades and soil testing and some of that. So there's a fair amount of work, and I'm committed to making this right, but there may be modifications to parcels that I don't own or control, such as Lakeshore Drive itself. So to be determined, and I will come back before the commission with that.
Okay.
Lastly, there's a enforcement order on the moving of the boulders.
Yes.
And I apologize again, I missed the discussion on that. That will be part of the, was it a restoration plan that was voted?
Yes.
Requirement, okay. We'll have OHI look at that and provide that as well. I don't know that we'll get it for the next meeting.
You were given until the August meeting, which I think...
August 19th?
August 19th.
August 19th for work to be done after the lake is drawn down.
So that gives you the 60 days. Which,
Yeah, okay.
Because when we read the email, it said, when OHI said it was going to take 60 days, we figured 60 days from tonight as well will probably work, hopefully.
Okay, then at that point, does anyone on the commission have any questions for me at this time?
My only question was, I asked Brandon if he knew what the status of the erosion control barrier was in that area. And so if you could let me know what that.
The straw wattles are holding, and I have moved them around a couple of times. I've also cut in a couple of water bars up along Lakeshore Drive. Early discussions with the engineer look to probably implement some French drains and interceptors. I'm not sure exactly what will come of this effort, but it will be a professional effort.
Okay.
That's great.
Yep, and so there are no fines. We voted not to place any fines on it, but we would have the option of placing fines at our August meeting if we haven't received anything back.
Progress, yeah. No, there'll be progress, yeah. Okay, and again, my apologies. I will be on time next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
The first time since I think I started working here, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I feel like I can breathe easy. If there's not some kind of calamity, it's in the middle of some kind of crisis since last August.
Yeah, well, you know what's going to happen on Friday after this heat wave? There's going to be a thunderstorm. It's going to dump 5 inches of rain, and we're all going to be back at it again.
What was the name of that character on SNL?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always found something negative to say.
Yeah. Yep, I know who you mean. I just can't remember the name.
We should be able to. It's earlier tonight.
Debbie Downer. Debbie Downer.
Did anybody have a chance to look at meeting minutes for January 22nd? If not, we're going to address it at our next meeting.
Did you read them?
I haven't read.
No, it would just, they just appeared today. I mean,
So take that with you,
Please.
and yeah, you can read it in your spare time before July 15th.
Okay.
And we may get more. We'll probably get more.
I want to get so many of these things off the board as possible. January, that was like when we were like in the meat of our like, major 7-hour sessions.
Yes.
I feel bad for whoever is doing it.
Oh, my gosh, exactly.
All right, so do we need to close the public hearing or anything? We're good?
No,
And, make a motion.
motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Bonjamai.
Hit the gavel.